Hello, welcome to my project. My project is on the potential of wearable technology in managing anxiety. Let's start off with the introduction. Now, in today's day and age, anxiety disorders are some of the most common mental health challenges people face. Anxiety disorders can often affect both a person's day-to-day life as well as their emotional well-being. Although treatments like cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT, and medication can be effective, they often don't cover things like symptom tracking in real time or accessibility issues. This is where wearable technology can help. These devices offer a relatively non-invasive way for a person to monitor the physical signs of anxiety they exhibit. In this presentation, we will discuss how wearable tech can help an individual manage their own anxiety. We will also go over the biopsychological side of anxiety and how wearable tech can assist, as well as the ethical questions that come with having a piece of tech that pretty much measures your mental state. Now we'll go over the biopsychology behind anxiety. Anxiety disorders are some of the most widespread mental health issues around the world. They're not only psychological, they also impact your body, and they're connected to how your body actually reacts to stress over time. According to Mental Health Daily, anxiety is linked to chronic stress and disruptions in a person's physiological systems that are supposed to help them stay balanced. One of the most commonly affected symptoms is the autonomic nervous system, in particular, the parasympathetic branch, which helps the body calm down after a bout of stress. A important way researchers and clinicians measure this balance is through something called heart rate variability, also known as HRV. HRV uh, is the natural variations in time between a person's heartbeats. So, in people with anxiety, the HRV tends to be lower, which means that there's a reduced parasympathetic activity as well as poorer recovery time from stress. This lower HRV is now considered a biological marker of anxiety. It is also something that wearable technology can help track, and they can actually do this passively. Another important psychological measure is the ectodermal activity, also known as EDA. Now, EDA basically measures the changes in a person's skin conductance. Basically, it measures how sweaty your skin gets in response to stress. When someone feels anxious, their sympathetic nervous system kicks in, which also leads to a spike in a person's EDA. Wearable technology can actually notice these changes and interpret them as signals or signs of stress in a anxiety episode. Breathing, believe it or not, is actually another factor. During periods of anxiety, respiration tends to become both faster and shallower, or even more erratic. These strange breathing patterns are also measurable by wearable technology and can act as early warning signs of a person's anxiety spike. These signals, like I mentioned, the HRV, the EDA, and respiration, create a sort of psychological spreadsheet for a person's stress. Wearable technologies use this information not just to monitor anxiety, but in some cases even to trigger alerts or recommend interventions like breathing exercises. This ability to track anxiety as it's occurring is what makes wearable technology so promising in this field. Now let's move on to what exactly is wearable technology. So wearable technology includes devices that people wear on their bodies to constantly track their physical data related to either health or behavior or both. According to Thrive Health, these devices collect information in real time which makes them very useful for more than just tracking a person's fitness. Some common examples are smartwatches like the Apple Watch or a Fitbit, um, something known as biosensing bands, and even more specific devices like the Apollo Neuro, which actually uses vibration based feedback to help manage a person's stress. These devices have built in sensors that monitor things like your heart rate, ectodermal activity, like I mentioned earlier, and even your respiration patterns. These signals can give the wearer insight into how they are physically reacting to either stress or anxiety. Although wearable technology originally started as tools for tracking, a person's steps or workouts or even their heartbeat, they're now being used more for uh, mental health, especially for detecting stress and helping with managing anxiety. Now let's move on to managing anxiety through biofeedback. Now, what is biofeedback? Biofeedback is when wearable technology devices give real-time information about things like a person's heart rate variability, their ectodermal activity, and breathing. This helps people notice how their body responds to stress and actually learn how to manage it. Some devices, like the Apollo Neuro I mentioned, use vibrations to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This can actually help the body relax and supports better emotional control. Now, many smartwatches can also spot when a person's heart rate goes up or their breathing becomes irregular. When that happens, they can suggest calming breathing routines to help lower anxiety, like breathing exercises. By also showing patterns related to stress, biofeedback can help people become more aware of their emotions and take action before their anxiety gets worse. Biofeedback can also help bring the nervous system back into balance by supporting both the fight or flight and the rest and digest systems. Now let's move on and talk about the benefits of wearable technology. Wearable devices are becoming an important part of how people manage anxiety. Like I mentioned, they track things like a person's heart rate variability, inductance, and breathing in real time. This can help people catch early signs of stress before their anxiety actually gets worse. These devices also um, offer ways to respond instantly as soon as they notice signs of a upcoming anxiety attack. For example, the Apollo Neuro can use gentle vibrations to help calm the body. Smartwatches can also suggest breathing exercises when they notice something like a fast heart rate or irregular breathing. Over time, um, these tips can actually help people themselves get better at noticing their stress patterns and kind of assist them in doing something um, before it actually builds up, even without um, any wearable technology to signal them. Let's talk about the limitations and ethical concerns. There are some important concerns with wearable technology. For example, things like heart rate and skin signals can be affected by factors like exercise or caffeine, which can cause both false or missed signals of anxiety. Some people might even start relying too much on these devices and potentially skip more effective options like therapy. Privacy is also another big issue. These devices collect a lot of sensitive data, so it's important to think about who can access this information as well as how it's used. Accessibility is also a problem. The higher end devices can cost a lot of money, um, or even need a smartphone to work with them, which means some people might not be able to either afford or be able to use them. And even though these wearable devices show a lot of promise, we need a lot of stronger and more extensive clinical studies to prove that they work well over time. Now let's move on to the future possibilities of wearable technology. Future devices will likely use machine learning to better understand how each person reacts to stress and then offer more personalized support. These devices could also start working with mental health apps or online therapy programs, so Therapists can keep track of how someone is doing without having to meet somebody face to face. New sensors could also be added to measure things like cortisol levels, facial tension, or even changes in someone's voice. Some devices may even be able to predict anxiety before it starts, giving people a chance to step in and, cut it at its roots before it becomes a problem. As this technology grows, there will also be a need to focus on privacy, just to make sure people know how and when their data is being used. Um, Also, being able to make sure everyone has access to these and not just those who can afford it. And this is a list of the references I used throughout this project. Thank you for watching.